got my tyres on and just put the wheels on the hubs. I've got to get them to clean all the wheel nuts up, so I need to sandblast those and do something to make them look nice. But these wheels come up very, very nice indeed, haven't they? Don't you know? What? Looks like a bolt one, doesn't it? Look at that. Compared with what they were like, they're like Rolls Royce. I don't know if I've got to get them balanced or not. You know what I mean? Probably not. Look at that. They look lovely, didn't they? When you think about that, what it did look like was worse than these ones. These ones are actually pretty good compared with the ones that come off of there. Poor old tractor. I did some tractoring on the weekend, by the way, and I did some ploughing with this machine here. And unfortunately, the tractor deposited its oil, well, most of it, all over the dirt. So I don't think it's a very well engine. So I've had a bit of a change of plan. Instead of pulling this engine out of here, because it's going to need rebuilding, I can't let someone have it when it's pissing oil out everywhere. I thought it was just the seals, but when it's under load, it's like chuffing oil out of places it shouldn't chuff oil out of, isn't it? So the original engine out of this little fella by Ure, which over here, I'm going to get it up on the engine stand, this thing here, and going to give it a bloody good clean. I might take the pistons and rods out and just give it a hone to clean it up, see what the rings are like. Might put a set of shells in it, but I think this one had about 60 psi just spinning it over when I was trying to start it, so it's got good oil pressure. But I'll check the shells, give it a good once over. I'll let the valves in, put valve stem seals on it, which they don't normally have, they didn't come standard with that. And then I'll have to buy or rebuild the water pump probably, and a few little bits and bobs, but that's the plan. And then this will be like a very good engine. I'll be happy to let someone buy it then without me worrying that it's going to come back and they say it's buggered. So that's my new plan, isn't it? Which is a better plan, I think. So after my ploughing expedition last weekend, that sawdust is covering up the puddle that dripped out the bell housing of this engine. I was going to put in the other tractor. I don't think it's worth it, because if I sold somebody this, it'd come straight back, wouldn't it? And they'd go, what the fuck's going on? So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fix up the other engine, and this one will be the one I've completely rebuilt. Anywho, so yeah, she was a bit of a mess. Still goes, but oil comes out of every orifice that it's not supposed to come out of, which we don't like. So yesterday I got a bit carried away and gave this a bloody good clean with a water blaster and degreased it all. Looking at the bores, I'm going to pull the pistons out and just probably deglaze them. They're not as bad as I thought they were. I've got the cam followers out there on the front, on the bonnet of my Rover there. I'm going to pull the shells out and have a look, see what they're like. And rear main oil seal, I've got that over on the bench ready to go in. Same with the front seal, I've got that. I've just got to get a socket to fit that bugger there. I'm going to have to order myself a nice shiny new gasket set for this one, and a set of studs, valve stem seals and whatsoever, and then we'll see how we go from there. But it should be alright. It'll be a lot better than that one anyway, the other one. The sump was absolutely full of sludge. This was like about an inch of sludge in the bottom of it, which I've cleaned. And I've got to clean all the other little bits and bobs, and then we can get cracking on this. I'll have a look at the oil pump as well. I believe the oil pump must be in that bit there. It looks like a drivey sort of thing, doesn't it? So we'll have a look in there, see what that looks like as well. But yeah, that's the plan, Stan. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the studs. I'm going to chuck new studs in it. These are how old are these bastards? 75 years old or something like that, 70 years old. I'll keep them, they're good. I doubt if they've ever been changed. Ooh, that's a bit tight, that bastard. They're very expensive, these studs, probably about a few bucks each. They've got a little slot up the side of them to let the oil out in there, which is a good idea, isn't it? Yeah, look at that. You can see that little slot in them. So if that's full of oil, that'll let the oil and shit out, so it don't hydraulic in it. Very nice. Next. I've got the followers out, as I said, they're over there, and they all look pretty good. One of them's got a little nick out of it, which was one that had a bent push rod. I might just clean it up with the grinder just so it don't catch anywhere, but it moved freely, so I ain't too worried about it. It's not as if it revs, is it? It's only like doing a couple of thousand RPM, I think, 2,500, 3,000 tops. But yeah, I want to clean all this up, so I shall get my, what's that there, looks a bit wanky. My new compressor that's nearly working, sort of nearly working, got an oil filter and all that for it. Chucked it in yesterday and it does go up to a pressure now. Not as quick as I thought it was going to be. It's very, very quiet indeed, but it does stick. Sometimes there's a valve, there's a bypass valve inside the head unit, and that opens and bypasses, but it gets up to about 150 psi and bypasses the tank, so the tank don't go up, so it won't switch off, which is fucking stupid, isn't it? I think we're better off putting that pressure thing on the pump. But anyway, I don't know, I'll sort that out another day, but I can still use it, because what I'm going to use is cleaning this up. Where's my doofer hoofer? Over here, there it is. Just to get the rest of the crud off the block. I've got this little finger thingo, which is awesome for getting off paint and crap. And I'll be able to go over the top of the block as well, like that. I can't get this off yet, the showed down here. I can't get that off because I haven't got a socket that size. I'll see if I can borrow one off one of my mates. But at least I'll be able to get this today clean, and if I just open this there, like that, I can spin this little fella around now, away. Like that, let some more crap out, and I'll be able to have a look at the big ends and the mains and the oil pump. It looks very, very clean in here now compared with what it was. Still a bit crappy, but a million times better, innit? So I shall fire up my little compressor in a second. Just wipe some of this excess oil off of here so I don't drip on the floor and make a mess. Don't like a mess remove. Does that unscrew? I think it does it? Oil pickup's a bit strange, it just twiddles round. Anyway, I suppose that's what it's supposed to do. Must be an O-ring in there surely, otherwise it's gonna, I don't know. We'll have a look at that. Cam looks alright as well. So maybe it's not as bad as I thought. Yes. Although I think I might get a torch in there and have a proper look. I will. I'll do that. So first thing I'm going to do is pull off this little cover on the back. There's a split cover that goes over the the rear crank seal. So I'll pull out these little bolts. And I'll take this cap off here, which is a big end, isn't it? And I can also see then what sort of old seal they had in them. I think it would have been a rope one or something, because a lot of the seals on the tractor are leather. So the ones in the steering box were leather, and I think the ones on the axle are leather as well. And yeah, not sure what these are. Be interested to find out. It's weird, it's got a huge, great big lip on in the crank, and if it didn't have that on there, and you could have got an oil seal in, couldn't you? Probably. But other than that, there's no way to get it in because this big lip here. Actually, that feels like rubber. It does feel like rubber. I should put these down here in the stand. Now I'll find what the size that is. 11/16 I think. It ain't that size. What that size? Grey size are they? Bigger or that size? That's the one. Like my new orange gloves. They're bollocks, aren't they? Don't fall apart like the other ones. Normally they last 5 minutes, but these screens seem to be quite a bomber. I'm hoping these are going to be nice and no brass or whatever showing through them. We live in hope. I might have to pry that out with an hammerer. She's tight fit. I'll get it out. I'll stick something underneath there where the seal goes, that might. Oh, it's assist. This might have had a new seal in it at some stage actually. Yeah, I'll carry on getting this out and I'll come back in it. So that's a good sign. No copper or brass showing through there. So I've still got white metal on it. And the journal looks very, very good indeed. I'll show you. See that? It's lovely. No scoring or pitting, no hot marks, it's lovely. So I reckon they'll go again. I'm going to assume the rest are as good as this. I want to take this one off anyway because I want to put the new seal in while I'm here. So I'll put the new seal in and then I shall put this back together again. And those seals on the side are still proud as well, so they're still good, them, those rubbers, so they sit a little bit prouder than the, that's why it's so hard to get out. I'll give this a good old clean up. And we'll get our new seal in there. Let's put it down there where it's safe. Lovely. I shall get this seal out. So here's our nice shiny new rear main, which is split. The reason it's split is so you can feed it in. I'm going to put a little bit of this crap as I put it back together again. If I can get a lid off, that is. Come on, darling. Put it on a bit tight, didn't I? There's a little bit around there. Just so it don't run dry first time we crank the old girl. And that might make it a bit easier to get in and all. And I want the joint at the top of the engine obviously, so that is essentially going to be at the top there. We hope. We'll get the fucker in there. Now, fitting all pretty much. Looks good. And make sure that joins in the right place. Where's my torture? Over there. The torture. I'd say that's close enough, don't you know? Definitely close enough. So what I'll do is I'll put on this bottomy plate again. Get my big fat fingers in there. Throw bolts on the floor, good idea. I need more hands. Shit. This stand's all very good and great, but it gets in the fucking way, doesn't it? That's that one started. Definitely better suit with someone with tiny little hands, like a lady. get Nelly to do this. I'm going to turn the camera off because I might swear in a minute. So I've got my sealing, and obviously the way I done it was to take the sump off and take the main bearing cap off. But it looks like this has been done before by someone else. Now I don't know if that's a standard thing. See that there? Where are we? There. There's a big slither off of the crank. Now I don't know whether that would be a standard thing or whether someone's thought, I know how to do that, I'll cut a bit out so I can poke the ceiling. But it looks like that's how the seal was either originally fitted or, you know, retrofitted. So that's either very, very clever thinking on Mr. Ferguson's part or on some mechanic's part. So yeah, I wonder what that was, and now I know. But anyway, the seal's in, bottom plate is, the retaining plate's on and the bolts are in. Now I can flick it back up the other way and chuck the bearing cap on, and then I'm going to take off the big ends on each one and have a look in there. And I'm going to drop the pistons out, and I'm probably going to give it a little bit of a tickle up just with the stone, just to deglaze them a little bit. Not that they're that bad, but yeah, just to clean them in it. So just getting this bearing cap in, I've just pushed it in, and I'm just going to snip it down gently Bentley. I'll put a little bit of sealant down each side of the old leather seals there. I'll do this and I'm going to have a bleeding cup of tea, and I just have to Google the torque settings for these because I haven't got them to hand, but I'll go and do that in a minute. But I'll just nip them, and then in. Clean off that little bit of excess sealant there, because don't want that floating around in there, do we? And they're lovely. So that's got our new oil seal in there. Just got to put that other plate on the top, nip that up as well. And then I'll take a main bearing cap off. Not a main bearing cap, a big end bearing cap, and see if we can get a piston out. But I might shoot in a town and see if I can get a piston ring compressor, because I haven't got one here, and also see if I can find a little set of stones, cheap honing stones. I'll do that. Cup of tea, thank you. Well, I've just done Mr. Google, and according to Mr. Google it's between 80 and 85, so I'm going to go like 83, 84. And I reckon that'll do us. So let's see how that goes. be like that then. So that's 84, and the big ends is 55, I think it says. So I'll pull them off. I've got to unbend these tabs and pull them off. But I might try and go and get me bits first before the shop's shut, and have a bloody cup of tea. So I mean, it's time to get one of these out. So got me little chisel. Bring these little tabos out of the way. What I'll probably do, well, let's get a socket. It's not that size, obviously. Be that size. Hopefully these little buggers are as good as the main bearings were, but you never know, do you? Boots, there was my lock on that. We go, let's have a look in here. Bit dark, but it's got all the metal on there. So I've got a number 4 piston out. All rings look pretty good. I was just getting a little home and it's come out pretty reasonable. So I think I shall just throw these little buggers back in, don't you know. They're not fantastic there, but they don't look like they're excessively warm to me, so back it goes. I've got my nice shiny new piston ring compressor, and then I shall just tried it on and it fits lovely, doesn't it? So I shall put this little bugger back in, bit of lube around it and then whack it in. Right, this little fella's going in. Just want to make sure the collar don't smack where it's not supposed to smack. I do believe that one back in, which you know, this back in. Beautiful, first one done. Let's put the cap back on it. Let's get rid of that and that for a minute. Back we go. Upside down again. Bit more goop. And these are all numbered as well, which was handy, so each one's got 1, 2, 3, 4 on it. so you know which way around to go and everything, which is very nice. And these have got to be torqued up to, I think it was 50 to something. I'll have a look. I did write it down over there on the wall. I took this little bad boy out. So 50 to 55 pans. Go to 54. Move that little bugger up a little bit like that. Perfect. I'll leave that sec, so I'm going to use it again, anyway. Now turn it around and do the next one. In it. So number 4 and number 3 are done. Just getting number 2 out. Shells all look good so far as well, which is nice. The only thing I'm finding at the moment is over the little tiny lip on the top of the bore where the rings go up to, just a little bit of a prick to get the piston out. Mate, that's coming out, just a little bit of a tap. And so far it's not broken any rings or anything, so it can't be that bad. Just going to get these shells out. Now we can push this little fellow down. With a bit of wood. Another one out. So all the rings are free, just a bit gritty from where some anus hole sandblasted it, but I'll get all that shit off. Innit? It's lovely, isn't it? Lovely blowy thing, it is. Go down there. Give this one a hone. Charlie Mahone.
Smoking, that is pretty good. Right, I'll get a piston ready, how's that feel?
Just start whacking these cam followers back in, they're all clean now. Bit of this looby lube on there. And that one is that one. Inch pops. Make sure they're spotless. That one's on there. means I'll pick some up, but I don't think it matters too much. Not as if it's a F1 car, is it? Or is it? All of the push rods are mixed up as well, I think, now, because I had to play with some of them. So I don't think it matters too much. They will fit now, they should all be the bloody same. I've got to do the tappets anyway, haven't I? And that is the last little fellow. There we go. All I've got to do is the front seal, but I haven't got a socket for that in a minute. I'll clean the top of the block with my little fingery gadget, which has just got the crap off, you know, gasket material and whatever. Yeah, next thing is to pull off the front pulley and do that oil seal there. I need to get a new sump gasket, new oil filter, headset. I'll put the push rods in. I've got to get oil stem seals, got to get those. And then we can put this thing together, and I could probably stand it on the floor and get a tune out of it before I put it in, just to make sure it's going to be alright. It don't look that bad, you know. For a tractor engine, I think it's shit hot, isn't it? Perfect.